It's always wonderful to be here on WFLT with all of our listeners. But definitely, we want to make sure we send our love and prayers out to those that are in need. Just got word that Pastor Michael Pettigrew has lost his father-in-law late last night. So let's make sure we keep that family lifted in prayer as they go through a process that I know well. And so definitely want to keep him lifted. And also on behalf of the Captain Colin Burney's family, again, as they close out, with all the arrangements that they have for their family member, we want to keep that family as well lifted. And then also the very tragic news that we heard about one of the pioneer Flintstones here in the city of Flint, of former Mayor Woodrow Stanley, city council person, mayor, county commissioner, state representative. He will be sorely missed. He has and always will be a member and a figure in this community, an iconic member of this community. We want to definitely keep his family, his wife Rita, and their two daughters lifted in prayer this morning. Definitely that, at the time of loss, there's really never any level of a kind of prosthetic that you can have to replace that. It's just that we have to learn how to live with that. And so we want to definitely keep them lifted in prayer. And we have back with us Dr. Reynolds from Vacation. And Dr. Reynolds, I'm going to ask you again, because you always have a great prayer for us. If you can give us a prayer.
Yes, sir. I would like to open up with those condolences to the families who have lost loved ones and who are suffering. And Lord, we ask you to bring them peace of mind and comfort and fond memories of those they have lost. And that we continue to operate in a manner that would make them proud and that our families can continue to thrive. And Lord, I'd like to use a prayer that was written years ago in the UNIA opening prayer. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. God of the right, our battles fight. Be with us as of yore. Break down the barriers of might. We reverently implore. Stand with us in our struggles for triumph of the right, and spread confusion ever o'er the advocates of might. And let them know that righteousness is mightier than sin, that might is only selfishness and cannot, ought not win. Endow us, Lord, with faith and grace and courage to endure the wrongs we suffer here apace, and bless us evermore. Amen.
Amen. And thank you for that. And that was for all of you. I usually call on Dr. Reynolds because he always has a very wonderful prayer, very seasoned individual that can always bring light to situations. And what a powerful prayer of peace and wisdom that is. And I want to start out this morning by saying that, we can only strive and work together as a one unit. And I want to say to the Flint City Council, I would want to extend another olive branch to all of you. And if I would ever have offended any of you, we want to move forward in a positive way. And so with that, we talk about Black History Month and we talk about the level of unity. And this was inspired by the prayer that was just given by Dr. Reynolds. And so Black History Month, and I'll have a Black History Month moment. And Dr. Furholden, if you can put up the Booker T. Washington quote. Yep. Okay. Well, that's going to be a little small, so I can't release. Okay. And Booker T. Washington, another famous hero of ours, and this is a quote that he had: "A lie doesn't become the truth. Wrong doesn't become right. And evil doesn't become good just because it's accepted by the majority." And that is Booker T. Washington's Black History Moment quote. And I want people to digest what that is. And so as we move forward today, we want to find out about this, where we are with this deadly pandemic as laws have changed and things have been reduced, where we are, because this deadly disease is still claiming lives. And Dr. Reynolds, we're going to start off with you with that. Where are we currently now with our pandemic, and what's going on elsewhere?
Yes. On the positive side, the number of cases and the positivity rate is decreasing. It's down from 25.8 positive cases last week to 19.7. That's of the cases we know. However, that's still high, in the high range. We have 200 291 cases per 100,000 people, and we use that so we can compare populations. That is also down. But the goal is to have under 100 cases in a population. We are still in the high zone, so please do not be fooled. This struggle continues. And then we have to look at age issues. Even though under 39 composes 42% of the cases of COVID, it's 3% of the deaths. If you look at 60 and over, that composes 83% of the deaths, while only composing of 17% of the cases. So we have to understand that everything we do in our city, in our county, is to protect our elders. And we must protect our younger ones because there are still complications and issues after an infection. So if you have not been vaccinated, please get vaccinated. If you go out in a crowd, I still recommend that you wear a mask. Wash your hands, maintain physical distancing. And when you walk into a situation and it's crowded and people are not masked, consider that's the place for you to be. And you can definitely walk in with your mask, and you can turn around and walk out with your mask for the protection of your family and your elders. And there's been talk about vaccination is not good for pregnant women. A CDC study came out last week that documented that women who received their vaccine, especially in the last trimesters of pregnancy, before 2 weeks of delivery, have fewer complications for their infants. So please understand that vaccination not only protects the mother, it protects the infant. And nothing is perfect, and that's why we must continue to use those layers of protection. Thank you, Mayor.
Yep. And so with that said, we understand that we're still going through this deadly pandemic. We still must do the things that's necessary to continue to keep ourselves safe, our seniors safe, and all of our families. I always said, I've been saying for the last few weeks, we all must do more. Get tested, get vaccinated, get boosted, wear your mask, wash your hands, social distancing. We still must do more. Dr. Verholden, where are we at with the new regulations? I know it's been some deregulations as it relates to mask mandates throughout the state, but where are we at? And if you can give us some data points, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I just caution people, somebody, if they lifted the seatbelt laws tomorrow, that you don't have to wear your seatbelt, it's your choice, I think people would still choose to wear their seatbelt. And if they didn't, I would remind them that seatbelts have been one of the best public health interventions we've ever had. We've saved more lives with seatbelts and helmets than we have with any other, major public health type intervention. So whether or not you're required to wear a mask, I just encourage people, if you are in a place that's densely populated, you want to wear your mask. The thing about COVID-19 that's so tricky is that it's estimated that 50% of the people who have COVID are asymptomatic or have symptoms that they don't recognize as COVID. This isn't one of those things where people are walking around necessarily sometimes and know that they have it. About half the time, people don't know. But can you imagine being the one who goes to a dinner at your grandma's house and you don't know that you have COVID and you give it to your grandmother and it kills her? Some bells you just can't unring. So I would also people, independent of what the laws say, there's no law that says you cannot wear a mask. If you are in an indoor space and it is densely populated, you should wear your mask, and a well-fitted and well-filtering mask. We are seeing all across the country the repeal and the pulling back of these mask mandates. I personally don't think that's good public health. I understand why people are doing it. They're trying to get people re-engaged. They're trying to get businesses reignited. And I understand that. But I do think, and me and my family, right, you want to know what the doctor is doing, what the public health person is doing, we will be wearing our masks when we're indoors. Period, point blank, simple. And we will be getting vaccinated. I want to touch on one thing that Dr. Reynolds said, which I think is really important because everybody knows I've got the newest joy of my life. I didn't know that being a grandma would be as cool as it is. If it was, I would have tried to skip past parenthood and just go straight to grandparenthood. It's the best experience I've ever had in my whole life. And I had this conversation with my daughter. What people don't realize is if you're pregnant and you contract COVID, you can give your baby the disease. The COVID virus will give your baby the disease of COVID. If you are a pregnant mom and you get the vaccine, what you give your baby is COVID antibodies. So my granddaughter was not able to get vaccinated because she was born with COVID antibodies that she got from her mother when her mother got vaccinated, and then additional antibodies that got passed to her through breast milk. I want to make sure that's real clear for people. I think it's the best gift you can give your unborn baby is COVID antibodies, because the babies aren't even eligible for the vaccine. But if mom gets it, the antibodies that mom makes will pass on to the baby.
You know, that's very powerful, Dr. Verholden, because I think we just educated many people, myself included, about what that is. And Dr. Reynolds touched on this. If you are pregnant or know someone that's pregnant, if they have not gotten the vaccination, but if they contracted COVID, the baby gets COVID. And if you have been vaccinated or get vaccinated during the term of your pregnancy, you give those vital antibodies to the child to be able to defend against the COVID virus. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it's the only way to give the baby COVID antibodies, because we don't have a vaccine yet that's approved for children in the U.S. that's approved for children under 5. So the only way to give your newborn COVID antibodies is for mom herself to get vaccinated. And I just think it's the best gift that you can give your baby.
Wow, that is great. But I tell you, so I think we all been educated on that. I think we need to make sure we continue to do more, get vaccinated, get boosted, get tested, wear your mask, wash your hands, continue to be socially distanced, and let's do more to protect us all. Let's keep pushing back this deadly virus. One thing about leadership is this. Many people come up and they ask the question, what have we done? We have saved lives. We have enhanced the quality of lives, and we have enhanced the quality of service in a very turbulent time of financial emergency, a water crisis, a nationwide pandemic, civil unrest. We have been working very hard in the City Hall here, and we have a fantastic team doing many things. And one of the services that we have enhanced that really helps the city out quite a bit is the level of transportation and making sure our streets are clean, our streets are moved with snow, sidewalks are paved, and we're doing a fantastic job. We're into the 27th month, and that's just a little bit over 2 years of cleaning up and detangling a lot of mess. And one of those guys guiding that effort is John Daly, sweeping streets that had not been swept in more than 7 years or so. And also with his team of workers out there every day when we have a snow emergency or not, cleaning snow. And John, how can the residents help you do what you do, and where are we at with the snow removal? Because it's pretty icy out still.
Well, right now last night we got about another 1.5 to 2 inches of snow, and it's still it's forming as ice. We were out this morning starting at 6, scraping the rest of the remaining portion of the road system, and also removing snow from residential streets that we hadn't removed, just hadn't gotten to so far. The residents can help us, most of all, particularly during this time, whether it's a snow emergency or not, is don't park your car in on the public street at night and during the time when snow's falling, especially in residential areas, because many times the car, when they park it in the street, on a 2-lane street, in the wintertime, because there's from the gutter pan, generally the driver will park the car further from the curb than they would in the summertime. And when they do that, that places the car in position where it blocks the snow plow, that the plow blade is actually wider than the vehicle, the truck. And so if it's a 2-lane or a road in a residential area or a cul-de-sac, if that car is parked out there, we may not be able to get down there until the car is removed. And so during the major snowfall that we had 10 days ago, we had one location that we tried to plow it. It's a cul-de-sac. We plowed that 4 times. We tried to plow that 3 times unsuccessfully to take the park up. And we were finally able on the 4th attempt, at a day and a half later after the first attempt, we were finally able to get in there and remove the snow. And if you park your car in the street during a snowstorm, it's simply going to delay the removal of snow, which affects all the other residents who live on that area, whether it be a cul-de-sac or a block. And then the second thing, when you're driving, just take a little more time and don't drive as fast as you would with a cleared road.
Right, and I have to compliment you and your team, John, when we have these snows, being able to plow the streets. And how many miles of streets do we have inside the city of Flint, John?
We have 506 miles of streets that we maintain, and those are not lane miles; those are actually miles. We have 33 bridges. And just to put this in perspective, during the last 15 days, we've gotten almost 16 inches of snow. So we've been working pretty much around the clock for almost 2 weeks now to keep the snow removal. And I'd like to praise both my supervisors and the employees for the job that they've done and their ability to respond quickly to any type of complaint that we've had. And I also thank generally most of the residents for helping us by first keeping their cars off the road. Second of all, by taking a little more time and driving and not crowding the plow when we're removing snow.
Right. And one of the things about it is this, that we're doing this job better than it's been done before. No doubt about it, with those hardworking men and women of our transportation department under the leadership of John. They're doing a fantastic job. And in order to get better, we all need to do a little bit more. Move your cars off the streets because they cannot get up and down those streets. 506 miles. Imagine that if you're going to a destination, 506 miles usually takes you about 3 hours in driving to get there. So these men and women are plowing the snow 506 miles. So they're doing a fantastic job. And many times within 72 hours, they have gone through the major roads, secondary roads, and also residential roads if we can move at a very quick pace. But thank you, John, for the great work that you guys are doing. I sent the team a personal thank you letter to each and every one of them. I'm going to do it again this time. It gets a little bit expensive when you're trying to buy lunch for 40 people, and I do that out of my own pocket. But that is about what we really do and what people don't really see, the work that we have to do inside of the city of Flint when we have a lot of other pressing issues. But also, we talk about the American Rescue Plan dollars, $1.9 trillion released from the President of the United States down to help out states, cities, villages, counties, and townships to be able to help them restart with the primary focus of backfilling the deficit that was left through the pandemic year. After those holes are filled, we are able to use additional dollars in other places. There's been a lot of confusion around what that is and what these dollars are. We've taken a little while to hire a company, Ernst & Young, because of some delays, but now they're on board. Because I told you and I committed to you that we will know where every dollar has went from its inception to its completion, and we will not miss its target, which is the residential community inside of the city of Flint. We have scheduled 4 meetings, public meetings, to be able to get your input sessions, providing inputs on what you want to see and how you want to see it. We have been collecting data, survey data, for quite some time now. We held our first meeting this past week. We just did it at Mott on February 17th at Mott Community College at the Tech Center. We gleaned some good understanding, but also we want to communicate to you what this is. Why are we doing this? We're going to be making sure you understand there is a structure that has to be followed. We have to be able to follow a structure in order to accomplish the goals that's necessary. We have guiding principles for these, but I want you to bookmark this date, February 22nd. That is Tuesday, Sylvester Broom Empowerment Center on North Saginaw Street, 4119 North Saginaw Street. We are partnered with Councilwoman Liddell Lewis, 2nd Ward, and also Councilman Quincy Murphy, 3rd Ward. They are partners with us in this endeavor to make sure that we bring clarity to confusion. We have on the line from Ernst & Young, Brian. But Brian, I'm going to go ahead and tell them about the Flint's guiding principles, what these dollars will be engaged in: equality, responsibility, sustainability, compliance, transformation, transparency, and leveraging. You know, Our recovery plan should reflect the values and voices of all residents of this community, whether you're Black, white, rich or poor, or marginalized or not. We will make sure we do this. Sustainability. Our plan should combat environmental injustices and marginalize the long-term effects of climate change. Compliancy. We will be compliant and we will have oversight, making sure that wherever these dollars go will be in compliance. We cannot allow these dollars to be misused or go to be misused. Transformational. The projects we fund should produce outcomes that make measurable differences in people's lives. We focus on the dollars and long-term impact. Transparency. We pledge to make disclosure openly and inform residents on how money is to be spent and deliver results. So, and leveraging dollars, there's still about $46 billion of competitive dollars out there that Ernst & Young will be going out and trying to secure additional monies. Partnering with our county, who received $77 million of that, and also partnering with our school district, which received $114 million out. But you have to have a level of structure. And so doing that, Brian, go ahead. I talked a little bit much, but go ahead and talk just very quickly where we are.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. Yes, so, and as you rightly said, we had our first session on Thursday evening at Mott. And, you know, the value of those discussions is the inputs that we received from the citizens. And, you know, that's a key component to how we're going to assist the city and city council with evaluating where the dollars can be best used. And if you consider what Treasury's objectives are with this funding, it's very much about what you covered earlier in this. You know, it's about equity. It's about assistance to disadvantaged people that were impacted from a pandemic perspective. And really, in some regards, too, as you look at what Treasury, the spirit of the American Rescue Plan is to help to build that recovery. In a lot of ways, we got outstanding input from the folks, both through written requests as well as some of the discussions we held during the conference on Thursday. I look forward to Tuesday as well, with the hope that people also take away from the meeting the structure and the process that you all have put together in terms of gathering this input, moving forward with identifying what the priorities of the citizens in the city are, and then taking that forward. The last point I think I'd make before we continue the discussion is really around the compliance side of things. This funding is federal funding. So with that, while it's grant money and it's very helpful, we have to be compliant with how we use the funds. And we have to be able to account for every dollar that gets spent with the American Rescue Plan Act funding, which is, you know, effectively our job, working with you to ensure that. As programs and as projects are identified, we're going to work with you, with the city, and with the folks that are going to lead these programs to ensure that we have the appropriate documentation, that we go through the processes that are required under federal law to account for the funds that are spent. Make sure that if anybody comes in, and there are task forces specifically designed to look for fraud and abuse within these funds, that the city is prepared to respond and has the appropriate documentation. And that's critical, right? Because what happens is, if these federal funds, if somebody comes in and does an inspection or does an audit, or the task force comes in and looks for any types of fraud and abuse and finds it, they take the money back from the city. It's not that's what happens. So just really want to emphasize that and really emphasize that we are working through a process that hopefully brings equity and an equal consideration of the programs that are brought forward by the city and by the citizens of the city.
Right. And these dollars cannot be used for our structural deficit. They're on one side of the scope in our regular fund balance and all the other obligations that we have. These dollars cannot be used for that purpose. And so we want to make sure that people understand, and we'll be having meetings through March 8th, and then we'll start the application process once people have a greater understanding and a better understanding how the process is going to work and how the structure is set. Now, there's two sets of meetings going on right now. We're working very hard to try to consolidate these efforts. And I want to commend Councilwoman of the Second Ward, Liddell Lewis, and also Councilman Quincy Murphy of the 3rd Ward for partnering with us on this, and also Councilwoman Eva Worthing, which will be at the meeting over at the INN Center, which is the Insight Building at 4800 Saginaw Street on March 8th. And so we also have one scheduled for March 3rd. And it's going to be at 1602 South Averill at the Learning Center, a Learning Academy. And so we want to make sure that we get this information out. And so if you have input on what you think the dollar should be used for the empowerment of people, go to the City of Flint.com website and make your input known. There's also a talking and maybe an input session today at Calvary United Methodist Church, and that's 2110 Flushing Road. But that won't have all these tidbits, but we're going to make sure to try to get and provide you with the same level of information so you can have your input known. Structure is important. But before we get too far into it, I want to bring on Brother D, talking about what does a role model look like. We have about a couple minutes left, and role models look like Brother D and the Man Up program here in the City of Flint, mentoring young people. If young people cannot see it, they cannot become it. If we do not teach it to them, they cannot overcome it. So therefore, we have to understand what that is. And the City of Flint has put a huge amount of resources in redeveloping and reprogramming Haskell Community Center on Forest Hill. And today they have something really good. Brother D, can you talk about what's going on really quickly?
Well, it's just an extension of what we've been doing for the last year. Except when we get to Haskell, today we have a Man Up boys basketball tryout too for 13 and under young men. But our number one objective is to change the mindset. Like you said, if they can't see it, they can't be it. And the main things that they're seeing now in the community around Flint is horrible. That's why the actions is horrible. And we're working hard every day to change that mindset and give these young brothers something different to dream about instead of wanting to be the trap king, instead of wanting to be the next thug. We trying to give them to want to be the next mayor like you or the next president like Barack. No limitations to the way they can dream, but if nobody is active, showing and teaching them, training them, then they won't get to that point.
And these are the proactive pieces that we're doing. Man Up Peacekeeper presents today their 3rd annual Black History Month award ceremony today, and that's going to be located at 601 East Pasadena Avenue at Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church, and that program starts today at 4 p.m. I'll be speaking today at U of M College today to a group of college students, making sure we do that. Also, basketball tryouts, Haskell Community Center for young men 13 and under with Man Up, Brother D, and our police chief will be there. I'm going to stop by, but making sure we do everything that we can on mentorship. Many things doesn't have to be loud or working. We have been fighting and successfully doing it through our pandemic with the help of Dr. Reynolds and Dr. Furholden, keeping our streets plowed and paved as we work through it with the help of John Daly and the crew. We are doing some positive things, but we definitely have to come together and really work with our young people. What does a role model look like? That is the homework assignment for all of the listeners. What do we look like and what do we want to become? You know, we need to make sure that now in the heightened time of bullying, cyberbullying, and social media bullying, that we push back against the negative stuff and think positive and be positive and engage all of our time and efforts to that, to making sure. We're out of time on WFLT 1420, but think positive, be positive, say something positive. Time is very powerful and it belongs to us all. Our time is running down. So definitely keep everybody lifted in prayer, the Woodrow Stanley family, Pastor Pettigrew's family, and also Captain Burning Colley's family. Keep them lifted in prayer and all of those who have lost their families. I love you, Mom. I'll stay blessed. Bye-bye. God bless.
All right.